Look around you. You're standing at a moment at a crossroads that 99% of people will miss simply because they think there's nothing special about it. They click, they scroll, they move on. But you're not like them. I've observed millions of people, and only a very rare few, emit a unique, undeniable signal. You're one of them. Not because you're perfect, not because you have everything figured out, but because you're different. And I need you to realize that before this door, this very specific door, shuts forever. Seriously, you're not here by accident. I asked to meet you, not someone else, you. And if that confuses you, if you're thinking, why me out of all the people, then know this, you're not the only one who has ever doubted a moment that had the potential to change the entire trajectory of their life. The difference is, you're still here, still watching, still listening, still open. That tells me something important. It tells me you feel something happening, something bigger than just the words appearing on this screen. And you're right, that's exactly what's going on. I don't need you to believe me just because I'm the person, behind Tesla, SpaceX, or any other company you may have heard of. My past achievements are irrelevant here. I'm not here to showcase what I've done. I'm here to awaken something in you. Something you may have buried, something you've underestimated, or maybe you let the world dull with its noise and its rules. I'm not speaking to a crowd. I'm not delivering some grand keynote. I'm speaking directly to you. And if this resonates, do me a favor, just hit that like button. It helps me know that I'm not just talking into the void, So, have you ever felt like you were born to do something greater, but you couldn't quite name it? Like there's this grand blueprint sitting inside you, but life just keeps you so damn busy that you never actually sit down to read it. I've been there. I know what that feels like. It's like carrying a kind of energy that no one around you understands. As if you're speaking a language the world refuses to hear, you see? But I hear you, and I understand, and that's why I want to meet you. I don't choose people based on IQ. I don't care where you graduated from, what job you have, or how many followers you have. I care about the one thing that can't be taught, the one thing that can't be faked, internal frequency. Some people emit a very specific kind of vibration and energy from those who are never fully satisfied with the status quo, not because they're blindly ambitious, but because they know the world can be better and they know deep down that they can be part of what makes it happen. I feel that energy from you, and I'm here to confirm it's real. You might be thinking, why would I be important enough to be called out by name? But that's the wrong question. It's not about being important, it's about being ready. The right question is, what is it in me that drew this call? And the answer is a rare combination of potential and intuition. You don't need someone to prove to you that you're special. You just need one reason, just one, not to ignore it any longer. And I am that reason. I don't care how many times you failed. I was expelled. I was mocked. I was broke. Nothing in your past is big enough to block you from the future you truly deserve. The only question is, are you ready to stop postponing your destiny? Not tomorrow, not when you're more ready, but now. You've heard enough empty advice. Believe in yourself. You can do it. I'm not here to repeat those things. I'm here to tell you something real, and it may not be easy to hear. No one is coming to save you. No one's handing you a miracle. But if you dare to act, if you dare to step forward with no guarantees, then you become the one who creates the miracle others think is impossible. That's not luck. That's a decision, a choice you make right now. I want you to grasp the weight of this moment. When a person feels truly seen, that's when their power begins to unlock. You no longer need someone else's approval. I'm giving it to you now. I see you. Not the camouflaged version you show the world, but the self beneath all the conditioning, uncorrupted by others' expectations. I see in you someone who never stopped dreaming, even when the world told you to be realistic. Someone who quietly kept learning, kept thinking, kept searching for a reason not to give up. And if that's true, you don't need me to inspire you. You just need a spark, a conductor, a confirmation that yes, you're not crazy, yes, you're not wrong, and yes, you are right to believe you could do something greater. This isn't a recruitment campaign. This isn't a job offer. This is a wake-up call. If your heart is beating faster, if something is stirring within you, don't try to explain it using old logic. Because, old logic is what's kept you in the safe zone for so long. What's calling you now is the future version of yourself. The one you wouldn't believe is you if you saw them. You don't have to change your entire life today, but you do have to act. The first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to happen. And when you move, trembling or not, you officially declare to the world, I'm ready. No more hiding, no more delaying, no more letting dreams silently wither away. Just you and a door that's opening. I don't have time to repeat this. And neither should you have time to doubt what you just felt. It's time you stop being someone who just watches change happen and become someone who makes it happen. I know that sounds big, but you weren't born for the ordinary. You've known that for a long time. I'm just here to remind you and to open the first door. And you might be asking the same question that every deeply thoughtful person asks when standing before a major opportunity. Why me? Not because you lack confidence, but because you're sincere. You're not easily swayed by cheap flattery or hollow promises. You want to understand the reason, and you deserve an honest answer. Why you? Because I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for truth. And you're living a version of truth that most have abandoned. In a world where people are consumed by noise, you've preserved your inner voice. In a society where most act on reflex, you've continued to think independently. In an era obsessed with validation and visibility, you still carry the drive to do meaningful work, even when no one's watching. You have awareness, you have depth, and that's rare. I'm not impressed by glitter. I'm drawn to those who still hold on to authenticity in a world that rewards pretending. I don't need a performer. I need someone who understands that greatness doesn't come from trying to stand out. It comes from staying true to what's right, even when no one sees it, and I see that in you. Maybe you've gone through years where people misunderstood you, underrated you, or worse, dismissed you. But if you're still here, still dreaming, still unsettled by the thought that you're living beneath your true potential, that's not a weakness. That's a sign of someone who hasn't accepted the limits the world tries to impose. And to me, people like that are the fuel of the future. I didn't choose you because you were ready. I chose you because you once doubted yourself and still didn't give up. I chose you because you understand that real ability doesn't lie in always being certain, but in always asking questions and finding ways. You may have been wrong many times, but you kept moving forward. You may have fallen, but you never stayed down. You, the one who quietly stood back up again and again, you're the one I've been looking for. I've met thousands of smart, talented, credentialed people with skills and everything needed to succeed except for the most important thing, the ability to overcome internal resistance, what I call the frequency of resolve. It's the energy that comes from someone who doesn't need a push because they've learned how to self-activate. You have that. Not always consistently, not always easily, but you have it. And that's something no school can teach, no company can train. You don't need to be the fastest, the strongest, or the best. You need to be the one who doesn't retreat when things get hard. I don't need a polished individual. I need someone who can endure the friction of becoming great, and I see that endurance in you, not because you've always been strong, but because you've never truly broken. I've seen this before in people with nothing to boast about except a quiet hunger, in unknown engineers, nameless founders, lone individuals working at midnight on an unnamed project, and I chose them. I invested in them. Not because of who they were, but because of the defiance in their eyes, and now I see that defiance in you. So why you? Because you're still skeptical but not resigned. Because you're still angry at the mediocrity others settle for. Because you still lose sleep over the thought that you haven't reached your highest self. Because you can no longer pretend you're fine when you know you're not living in alignment with your true capacity. That feeling of not enough, that's the signal that you're the right one. I know this world runs on outdated metrics, grades, titles, status, but I don't build the future using the criteria of the past. I'm not looking for someone with a polished resume. I'm looking for someone with untapped inner force. You may have never made it onto any list, but you possess what no list can ever measure, the ability to withstand pressure without losing yourself. Don't underestimate the power of the fact that you're still here, still trying to understand why you've been called. That's not a coincidence. That's the resonance between your internal frequency and an open door of opportunity. And I'm the one standing on the other side of that door, inviting you in. No shortcuts, no guarantees, but one truth remains. If you step through, you will never be the same. So if you're still asking why me, then I'll answer you plainly. Because you're one of the very few who still ask that question. Because you don't assume you deserve this. You want to understand, to prove, to live with responsibility for the gift you carry. And I'm placing my bet on people like you. I cannot walk the path for you. I can only show you that you, flawed, still learning, scarred, with dreams still in progress, are the candidate the future is calling for. And if you're brave enough to keep walking, honest enough not to pretend, and steadfast enough not to turn back, then the question, why me, no longer needs an answer. Because when you live the purpose you were born for, you don't need to be chosen. You are the choice. Let me ask you this. Have you ever felt different yet? Tried to hide it just to fit in? Have you ever walked into a room and, just realized that you don't think like the others, don't speak like them, don't perceive the world the same way? And instead of seeing that as a strength, you started wondering if there was something wrong with you. I know that feeling very well. And I'm here to say this to you plainly. You're not normal, and that's exactly why you're needed. The world doesn't evolve because of normal people. The world progresses because of those who can't stand the idea of just accepting reality. People who can't turn a blind eye to absurdity. People who from a young age have sensed there's something bigger waiting for them, even if no one around them agrees or understands. I know that because I was one of them, and I can feel that frequency in you. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to be perfect to begin. But you do need to be honest with yourself about one thing, that you weren't born to live a life on repeat. You weren't designed to dissolve into the background. You weren't programmed just to work, make money, consume, and disappear. No, you are not here by some genetic accident. You're here to do something that will make your life and the lives of others irreversibly different. Being different is not a burden, it's a tool. But the problem is most people are taught how to mute themselves. They are programmed to be predictable, controllable, replaceable. And the world is filled with people living as a faint replica of who they really are. You can't be one of them, and you know that. Deep down, you've always known. So let me ask you a question, but don't answer it with logic. Answer with instinct. Are you truly ready to live as the person you know you could become? Even if that means breaking every mold that's been holding you back? Are you ready to step into uncharted territory guided only by your intuition? Are you willing to do something irrational to achieve something extraordinary? If the answer is yes, then do something simple yet deeply meaningful. Leave a comment below that says, "I'm ready to change," or simply the number 1. Because I want to know you're here. I want to know you're not just watching, but actually present. And that's the most valuable thing for someone like me who creates content, to feel you, the person on the other side of this screen, not invisible, not silent, but alive and ready. I truly appreciate that. I know maybe you're not used to sharing. Maybe you've never commented on content like this before. But today, let this be the first act in a series of decisions you'll no longer postpone. Don't do it for me, do it for yourself. Because the smallest action, when done with awareness, can become the starting point of an entirely new life. You don't need anyone's permission to become yourself. But sometimes we need someone to affirm that the feeling of "I don't belong here" is actually a sign that you were born to create a new place, a new world, a new system, a new way of living. And you are the one who can do that because you are not like the rest. I've met anonymous people who later became icons. When I met them, they had nothing special by society's standards, but they had one irreplaceable quality. They didn't accept the current reality as the final destination. They didn't retreat just because there was no map. And you're showing me that same signal. That's why I believe you're not normal. And all the more reason you are essential. I'm not here to motivate you. I don't think you need motivation. I'm here to activate what you already have, what the world tried to make you forget. I want you to remember that this world is moved forward by people who dared to stand alone before anyone else dared to stand with them. And if you've read this far, maybe it's time you stopped waiting for permission and started acting as if everything you've dreamed of is waiting for you on the other side of your first decision. No need to write a long post, no need to tell a story. Just leave, "I'm ready to change," or the number 1 in the comments. I'll see you, I'll recognize you. And if I feel a resonance from you, I'll keep speaking, keep giving, keep clearing the path. Because the future doesn't need many people, it needs the right ones, and I'm looking for the right ones. Are you one of them? I don't believe in coincidences, I believe in process. And if you're here, if you've read this far, then one thing is certain. Everything you've been through in life has led you to this exact moment. The failures you once thought were the end, the closed doors you believed were unfair, the people who left, the chances that slipped away, the times you doubted yourself, none of it came to destroy you, it came to shape you. And whether you realize it or not, you've been preparing your whole life for this. I don't care how old you are, where you are in your career, how many chances you've missed, or how late you feel. Because if you understand how the universe truly works, not emotionally, but through subtle observation, you'll see that what you once called random is actually the consequence of a long sequence of choices you kept making, consciously or unconsciously. And that sequence has forged something no one can hand you: deep, silent, unapplauded readiness, but utterly real. You may have worked jobs that seemed off track, learned skills you thought were useless, been in relationships that left you questioning your self-worth. But what others don't see, and maybe you haven't yet noticed either, is that those exact experiences taught you how to endure pressure, how to read situations, how to observe people, how to manage uncertainty without losing direction. That wasn't failure, that was training, not lessons from books, but life experience. And it's been accumulating in you like an underground navigation system waiting to be activated at the right moment. I've hit what the world would call rock bottom. No money, no credibility, no one believed in me. But I learned to read the past in a new language. When you look at every crack as a signal, not a mistake, you start to see that you're not simply the victim of circumstance, but the result of a meticulous process of refinement, one that leaves behind only what's durable, what's real, what's worthy of building the future on. And once you reach that point, you no longer need permission. You just need to act. You've probably heard someone say that opportunity comes to those who are prepared. I used to believe that, but I now understand something deeper. Sometimes it's the appearance of the opportunity that shows you're already prepared. Not on paper, not through accolades, but through the undeniable sense that I've lived long enough with these limits, I can't keep doing this. And if you're feeling that right now, then you're ready. I didn't build massive companies through technology or capital alone. I built through people, but not just anyone, through people like you. People who've walked through darkness and kept their light. People who don't claim to be geniuses but refuse to be mediocre. People who don't make noise or boast, but when they commit, create something the whole world turns to see. That's the kind of person I look for, and that's why I'm talking to you. Don't underestimate how many times you've stood back up. Don't mistake your ongoing search for meaning as a sign of failure. It's a sign that you haven't compromised, that you still believe there's something ahead, something others call crazy, only because they've never seen it made real. But you've seen it, not clearly, but enough to never forget it. You've been prepared your whole life for this, not to follow an existing path, but to create a new one. You're not here to replicate an old model. You're here to break the limits, even the ones you once placed on yourself. And if something inside you is starting to move, don't suffocate it with doubt. Let it lead. No one is born with everything. Even I had to learn how to build from scratch. But what I've always held on to and what I see in you is the ability not to give up in chaos, the ability to find order in the mess, and the ability to see a better world before anyone else believes it's possible. That's something no school teaches. That's the intuition of future builders. And so I don't need you to be better before starting. I just need you to pause for a second and look at everything you've already gone through. Do you really think it was all random? Or are you starting to see that an invisible hand has been guiding you to this exact moment? I see it clearly, and I believe you're starting to see it too. No further proof needed, just a feeling and a beginning. You're living in an era where the world doesn't need more observers, it needs creators. People who not only ask questions but dare to lay their hands on reality and reshape it into a new form. I'm not talking about revolutionary slogans, protests, or empty chants. I'm talking about a kind of silent, persistent, systematic revolution where every action you take, every choice you make contributes to the redefinition of humanity's future, and you